Good afternoon, everyone. Drewby's Apiary here. Today is June the 27th, Monday. We are out at the original yard, and we'll probably only be here today because we're going to do something that normally I'd wait a little bit longer, but I'm going to be gone for the next 2 or so weeks, and I kind of want to get this started sooner rather than later. As you know, on the last video I harvested honey, which was great. I got about 360 some pounds, which I'm happy with that. I had expected to get a lot more. Did not happen. And ever since harvesting, really all I've done is just let the bees clean up whatever equipment, to kind of let them do their own thing. I was out here a week ago. Since then, didn't make a video, but I was just checking on the hives, marking some new queens. The orange hive over there and the little red rock hive over there, they had queens I had to mark. I just hadn't had a chance to mark them ever since they hatched about a month ago. And now that we've harvested and our flow is pretty much done, this is usually the time I always consider what is my summer treatment option for mites. And you know, I'm at the point now, just from like looking at mite drops, just naturally, like I check these bottom boards, you know, sometimes I can see some either dead mites or whatever that, I mean, I'm gonna be treating regardless, with or without a mite check. I know for some beekeepers, it's kind of like, why treat if you don't have to? I know there's mites. I mean, there's never not a situation anymore, it feels like, when you have no mites. Some hives do a lot better than others, but you know, I think some beekeepers will do 2 treatments a year, sometimes 3. I'm like 3 to 4 usually. I know that's expensive, but you know, I usually always stick with in the fall, sometimes in the spring, but really the fall is my Formic Pro time. Winter, ideally, is always my oxalic. This past year, oxalic was not great just because there was always brood in my hives all winter. We didn't have a very cold winter. This past spring, I did Formic because, again, because we had such a mild winter and our queens continued to lay the whole winter, I needed a way to knock back the mites going into spring, and so I did a Formic Pro then. So on average, my spring and fall, usually a Formic Pro. Winter, oxalic, 'cause that's cheapest. And then summer, you know, good advice if you watch beekeepers way more experienced than me, they'll tell you, you know, you really need to start thinking by beginning of August, end of July, beginning of August, what is gonna be your summer treatment before, you know, you do go into fall. Because remember, you know, this is the biggest population buildup for most of these hives. And this, because of that, this is also when your mite numbers are gonna explode. So here we are, like I said, the end of June. This is a really early time to do the treatment, to be honest with you. I probably could wait to do this a little longer, but again, my flow is done in the area. I'm gonna double check, you know, these, like the supers as I'm opening them up and just take a peek, but there really shouldn't be any nectar coming in at all. And if it is, it's almost nothing. Once we harvested, that's pretty much it. I might try to get a harvest late September, early October if I'm lucky, but we will see. It all just depends on the year. And so, you know, some beekeepers, good advice will tell you to do a midsummer treatment, to do a July, August, somewhere in there. And so even though I'm getting it done early, I'd rather just get it done. And because one thing you're not supposed to do is, well, actually, I should go into this in a second. Some of y'all already know what this is, but some treatments you're not supposed to feed. Formic Pro is one of them. What we are going to be using this year, first time I've used it, is Apiguard. Okay, never used this product before, but last year I did the Apiguard strips and I did not think they worked very well. Like I thought they were very weak. It's not that I didn't notice any sort of a drop, but I felt like I tested after treatment on all of them. I think that pretty much all of them still had some mites. You know, it might have been like a count of like 2% or something, like 1 to 2%, but it just, I just don't, whatever percentage solution they're using, I just don't think it's strong enough anymore. And I have heard people say good things about Apiguard, so we're going to be using this today. It's a gel. The actual active ingredient is thymol. And from videos of me watching how this is used, we're going to be basically, this is basically a tub of it, right? We're going to be using a syringe, and we're going to be using these little pads to put the solution on. So basically when you see me go in these hives, I'm basically gonna be going in, putting one of these pads that it came with on top of the brood chamber, using this syringe right here and getting a certain quantity out. If you read the instructions, it recommends to use 50 milliliters for the treatment, and it's supposed to be done over like basically when I treat and I put the solution on there, 50 milliliters. 2 weeks later, you come back out and you apply it again. Now, I may be lowering that dosage amount, and here I'll explain why. This is right out of the instruction book, something to think about, because again, this is the first time I've used this solution. But at temperatures above 77 degrees Fahrenheit, a lower dosage of 25 to 26 can be used effectively. All right, so here we are in, like I said, north central Georgia. Fortunately, this has been a cooler week compared to the past month, where every day has been in the mid to high 90s, just scorching. And because we're in the low 80s this week, because every day we have a chance of rain or clouds, that's why I'm getting on this right now, because this summer's already looking like it's going to be miserably hot, and I don't want to attempt to do a mite treatment that I'm not going to be able to do because of weather. But again, 77 degrees says above, you can use basically a half of the dosage. At these higher temperatures, only one application of that 25 milliliters should be applied at any one time. And it says repeat dose applications may be applied at intervals of 1 to 2 weeks as needed. So, and only other thing, doesn't apply out here, but it mentions if you do want to use Apiguard on like a small, like if you're doing nukes, we don't have them right here, but I'll be going to the other yards later this week and doing 2 nukes. It says a dose of 12 to 13 milliliters to that amount. So basically 12 to 13 up to 25, depending on the nuke size, is appropriate as well. So yeah, we're not going to be giving them greater than 50. Again, even though that's the recommended dose. But according to this, anything greater than 50 could cause disturbances of agitation, absconding, or mortality. So, yep, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else really to say. Like I said, this is the first time for me. There's some great videos online of, people like Cayman Reynolds and Bob Binney showing how to use it. I'd watch those videos, but today, like I said, you're just gonna watch me. I'm just gonna go probably right from left. Apply the smaller dosage. I'm probably gonna put 25 to 30 somewhere in there. 30 might actually be my magic number, and that's what we're gonna do. So without further ado, we'll work through these, and I'll keep you updated if anything stands out. All right, so let me get the lid off of red. We'll work from left to right, like I mentioned, or when the camera was facing the other way, as it appeared right to left, but. Tagged on the leg. Ankle biters, as they call them. So like I said, the goal with this is we're going to be putting thymol right above the brood chamber. Like I said, this super right here was all just leftover stuff. It's actually looking like they're putting some work in on it, to be honest with you. But again, this will most likely just be for the bees. So check it real quick. I already did my inspections a week ago, so all we're doing today is applying the thymol and moving on down. So this is the stuff right here, kind of like a white gel. I'm gonna take this syringe right here. Like I said, we're gonna put it in the solution. Actually, one thing I need to do, I'm supposed to mix it. Mix it up. I said we're going, because we have temperatures in the low 80s and the instructions say anything above 77 degrees, so we're not gonna do the full 50. So we're gonna keep this at about, let's see, keep it right at about 30. It mentions 25, but we're gonna do 30. Okay. There's that. Move us over to here. I'm just gonna put this right there, near the front. And then yeah, then we're gonna close it up and we're gonna move on down. All right, first one too easy. I took a few super frames out of the top of the red box, which is where the camera is sitting on top of right now. Some frames that were almost backfilled completely with honey, because again, while you're doing this, you don't want to be, you know, with thymol gel, the idea is ideally that you don't have honey supers on, you're not harvesting this honey, right? So I'm taking away any honey I'm planning on harvesting in the future, as in a frame that is fully drawn out, right? Maybe it just wasn't ready when I harvested a couple weeks ago, but if it's ready today, I'm taking it. If it's not ready, that's fine, it'll stay. It's just gonna be for the bees for the future. So it'll be something they either overwinter with or they backfeed, or I'll just have to do that much little, you know, that much less backfeeding this summer, and then start feeding heavily when the fall, winter comes to get them prepped at that time. But I just wanna get this knocked out now, and again, just be easier for me to manage purposes. So moving into the yellow next. I also just realized I've got a hole in my glove. It's no good. Get a brand new one now. New set of gloves. Bees will find that hole, they will take advantage of it. So yeah, I'll be very curious how thymol ends up doing. I'm excited to see what it could be. I'm gonna take a peek at some frames while you're here, see if there's any worth taking. Go straight to the middle. This is set up as a 10. I'm gonna condense it down to 9 frames. Like I see, there's no real nectar coming in anymore. Everything you see here, this is all honey. You can tell by the color. I don't believe it's honey, I'm sorry, I don't believe it's nectar that was converted into honey recently. I think this is all this fresh stuff you see right here is stuff that they got when I started back feeding them everything. At least that's what I believe. So. There we go. This one will be worth taking. I see I'm starting to cap that. Only stragglers. Oh man, excuse me. All right, the rest leave for them for the upcoming nectar dearth. Just evening these out. These are gonna stay, like I said, as a 9 frame instead of 10. Usually if you leave it as a 9 in your super box, which I haven't been doing, better chance of the bees really drawing out that comb. So that's kind of what we want, because I can tell you a lot of the frames I harvested this year in the spring, which I won't make the mistake again, just were not deep enough filled. It made it a lot harder to harvest. So, lesson learned. Okay, to the opposite side. This is not necessary, this little 9 frame spacer, but you want to be as close as you can. This does help in that regard. Probably could have done that after I yanked the box off, but let's see if it stays where it's supposed to stay. All right, same as before. Take one of these pads. Go up to, like I said, 30 milliliters. We're gonna close it back up. In and out. All right, and like I said, I'm gonna just put up the rest in the time lapse, so that way you guys don't have to hear me talk very little. You can just watch me work. All right, that was a quick video. Like I said, just kind of want to show what I was doing this summer for my summer treatment. Again, we're using the lower dosage on Apiguard here in Georgia for me, only because of what the instructions are saying regarding temperature control. And again, just to restate, it says it right here, temperatures above 77 degrees, a lower dosage of 25 to 26 can be used effectively. So that's why I opted for 30. Just went slightly above that, even though 50 is the norm, but I think they assume, I'm not exactly sure where, UK. So it's a UK product. I'm sure they're used to temperatures in the summer that it makes more sense why the 50 is probably of the norm for certain highs in the days. I've only been to the UK a couple times, but even in the summer, I'm sure it gets hot, but I can promise you it doesn't get Georgia hot, or if it does, it doesn't get as humid as it does here. So there's probably a reason why they have those temperature averages in there, just for the average consumer, specifically in the UK, would know. For me, we're gonna do that, and then again, we're gonna check again in 2 weeks' time. I might briefly be back around to be able to apply that second treatment then, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do a follow-up treatment, the 25, 30 milliliters essentially, which is pretty close to the same weight in grams. We'll do that then, and then after that, it's pretty much gonna just be feeding like crazy. I said I'm not feeding them at all right now. I'm not gonna show you the other yards that me doing the same thing out there. This is just basic, showing you how it's done. The next couple days this week, I'll go out and I'll knock out the other yards, give them their treatment as well. And then, yeah, like I said, we'll follow back up part 2 of treatment, and I'll try to do results. At that point, I'll do a mite check. I'll do an actual sugar shake. Even though I didn't do a sugar shake precursor to this, I just know, I kind of saw some certain behaviors at some of my yards that lead me to believe that I probably am already at that threshold level. I've seen some mite drop in some of my trays. One of my yards, I saw I saw a bee on the ground with DFV, deformed wing virus, which is usually something indicative of a Varroa infection. And so I just wanted to get ahead of it now. I don't need to do a sugar shake. I know I need to treat. So that's what I'm doing. Hope you all had a good honey harvest this year. Hope you guys have plans as to what you're gonna do for your summer treatment method. If you're not gonna do a summer treatment method, I understand everyone's got their own way of doing things. Some people wait till September and kind of do a kind of do a mixed summer fall treatment before going into winter and doing oxalic. So whatever works for you, keep doing it. This is just what I'm trying this year. So hope you all enjoyed that. Hope it was helpful. Either way, y'all stay safe, take care, have a great 4th of July, and I'll see you on the next one.